Have you ever looked at a child and made up your mind about who they were before hearing a single word? That was exactly what happened on a rainy Friday afternoon in New York City. A little girl wearing an oversized gray hoodie pushed open the glass doors of the luxurious Grand Crescent Hotel. Her sneakers were soaked, her backpack looked worn out, and strands of wet brown hair covered part of her face. The elegant lobby fell silent. Business executives paused their conversations. A family checking in stared at her with puzzled expressions. Even the pianist stopped playing for a moment. She looked completely out of place. The front desk manager frowned. "Excuse me, sweetheart. Are your parents with you?" The girl quietly shook her head. "No, sir." Several guests exchanged uncomfortable glances. The manager sighed. "I'm sorry, but this hotel is for registered guests." The little girl tightened her grip on her backpack but did not argue. "I only need 5 minutes," she said softly. "I promised someone I would come here today." The manager looked toward the security guard. The guard slowly walked over, trying to remain polite. "I'm afraid you'll have to leave." The girl lowered her eyes. "I understand." She turned toward the exit, but before she reached the door, an elderly housekeeper named Maria stepped forward. "Wait." Everyone looked at her. Maria had worked at the hotel for over 30 years. She had seen thousands of wealthy guests come and go, but something about the girl's eyes stopped her. "They're not the eyes of someone looking for trouble," Maria whispered. "They're the eyes of someone carrying pain." Maria knelt beside the little girl. "What is your name?" "Lily." "How old are you?" 9. "And who asked you to come here?" Lily slowly opened her backpack. Instead of clothes or toys, she carefully removed an old envelope protected inside a plastic folder. The paper looked yellow with age. "My dad gave me this before he died." The entire lobby became quiet. "He told me that if I was ever completely alone, I should bring this letter to the owner of this hotel." Maria looked at the envelope. Across the front, written in neat handwriting, were the words, "For Daniel Brooks. Please read this yourself." Maria's expression changed immediately. Daniel Brooks was the billionaire owner of the Grand Crescent Hotel. He almost never visited without advance notice. The manager folded his arms. "Mr. Brooks isn't here today." Lily nodded. "I know. I'll wait." She walked to a chair in the corner of the lobby and sat quietly, holding the envelope against her chest. She never asked for food. She never asked for money. She simply waited. An hour passed. Guests continued watching her from a distance. Some whispered that she was making up the story. Others believed she had been sent there by someone trying to get attention. Only Maria stayed beside her. She brought Lily a warm cup of hot chocolate. "You don't have to pay." Lily smiled for the first time that day. "My dad always said kindness is the richest thing anyone can give." Maria felt tears forming in her eyes. Just then, the revolving doors opened once again. Several men in dark suits hurried inside. Behind them walked Daniel Brooks himself. The billionaire had returned unexpectedly after his private flight was forced to land early because of severe weather. The manager rushed forward. "Good afternoon, sir." But Daniel suddenly stopped walking. His eyes had locked onto the little girl sitting quietly in the corner. For a long moment, he didn't say a single word. Then he noticed the old envelope in her hands. His face turned pale. He slowly walked toward Lily as every person in the lobby watched in complete silence. With trembling hands, Lily stood up and held out the envelope. "My daddy told me this belongs to you." Daniel looked at the handwriting. His hands began to shake. Very carefully, he opened the letter. As he read the first few lines, tears filled his eyes. Without caring who was watching, one of the richest men in New York slowly dropped to his knees in front of the little girl. The entire hotel froze. No one understood what was written inside that letter. And no one could have imagined that the next few minutes would uncover a secret that had been hidden for more than 20 years. The silence inside the Grand Crescent Hotel felt endless. Daniel Brooks held the letter so tightly that his hands would not stop trembling. He closed his eyes for a moment before looking at Lily again. "What was your father's name?" he asked softly. "Michael Carter." The moment those words left her lips, Daniel covered his mouth. He had not heard that name in more than 20 years. Michael had not been an employee. He had been Daniel's closest friend long before the hotel empire, private jets, and magazine covers. They had grown up in the same neighborhood, chasing impossible dreams together. When Daniel was 24, he wanted to start a business, but every bank rejected him. Michael believed in him when nobody else did. Without telling his own family, Michael sold the only thing he truly owned, his small pickup truck. He placed every dollar he had into Daniel's hands. One day, Michael had smiled, "When you make it, don't pay me back. Just help someone who has nobody else." Daniel had promised. But only weeks later, Michael disappeared after accepting a construction job in another state. They lost contact, and despite years of searching, Daniel never found him. With tears running down his face, Daniel continued reading the letter. "My friend, if you are reading this, it means I am gone. I never regretted helping you. You kept your promise to the world by building opportunities for thousands of people. I have only one favor to ask. If my daughter ever stands before you alone, please remind her that her father loved her more than anything." Daniel could no longer hold back his emotions. He gently folded the letter and looked at Lily. "Your father didn't just help me. He gave me the future I have today." Everyone in the lobby stood in complete silence. The manager who had wanted Lily removed lowered his head in shame. Maria quietly wiped away her tears. Daniel smiled at Lily. "Have you eaten today?" She shook her head. Within minutes the hotel's finest dining room prepared a warm meal just for her. But before she took a single bite, Lily asked a question that broke every heart in the room. "Can I save half of it for tomorrow? I'm used to making food last." Daniel looked away, trying to hide his tears. "No, sweetheart," he whispered. "You will never have to worry about tomorrow again." The following week, Daniel announced the creation of the Michael Carter Foundation, a charity that would provide food, education, and housing for children who had lost their parents. He named it after the man who had believed in him before anyone else did. When reporters asked why he was donating hundreds of millions of dollars, Daniel held up the old letter. "The greatest investment of my life was never money. It was one man's kindness." Lily eventually moved into a loving home with relatives who had finally been located, and Daniel remained part of her life. Every birthday, every school graduation, and every important milestone, he was there cheering her on. Years later, when Lily graduated from college, she stood at the same hotel where her life had changed forever. She looked at the employees gathered around her and smiled. "My father taught me that kindness costs nothing. Mr. Brooks taught me that gratitude should last forever." She then announced that she would dedicate her life to helping children who felt forgotten, just as she once had. Many people believed the story was about a billionaire. They were wrong. It was always about an ordinary father whose single act of generosity echoed across decades and changed thousands of lives he would never live to see. Because true kindness never disappears. It simply waits for the right moment to come home.